Satoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So welcome back to the classes after a short break. Have you been doing your meditations and some effect you feel on the mind? It's working better? Yes? Today we are going to discuss some very important concepts, so I want you to pay attention. First of all, as usual, I will start with the Upanishads. After that, we are going to study the structure of scientific revolutions, and we are going to study deep level yoga. So, the story which I would like to tell you today is from the Kathopanishad. It's the story of Nachiketa. Aapne suna hai? Naam? Suna hai na? So, Nachiketa was a young boy. He was the son of a rishi called Vajashravas. And this young boy may be 12 years old, but he teaches us very profound lessons, as you will see. What exactly the story is like, it's a story which teaches you so much about how to enter self-knowledge, how to get self-knowledge, and so many ideas are given to you. So the story about Nachiketa has a lot to teach us. So carefully just follow it. The Nachiketa's father, Vajashravas Rishi, he was conducting a sacrifice, and as part of that yajna, dakshina dete hai na, they give gifts to Brahmins and all that. So he saw that his father was giving out cows, and very old cows which were not capable of yielding milk, this kind of cattle he was giving out. So Nachiketa suddenly thought that in a sacrifice the best things are to be given out, isn't it? Because it's an offering to God. And how is it that he is giving out such things? So it is actually described as Shraddha Avivesha, which means Shraddha entered this boy. The sincerity, the seriousness in this young lad, look at this. He immediately goes and asks his father, the question that is put there is, to whom will you give me in that case? You are giving out such gifts. And then the father gets angry and he says, I will give you to Lord Yama. And then the story goes that he goes to the abode of Yama, and then there is this very beautiful conversation between him and Yama, which is the Kathopanishad. Sometime when you get time, later on in life also, you can read Kathopanishad. It's something very powerful with a number of illuminating ideas. So what happens is a kind of confidence comes into this boy due to the clarity of his vision. You see, first of all, immediately he understands that what his father is doing in the sacrifice is not the right thing to do. Due to that, he has gone and questioned, how confidence is born. What gave this son the confidence to challenge his father in a right? Confidence is born when you have a clarity of vision, when you have a deep sense of right and wrong. Then naturally confidence will come into your personality. So this made him challenge his father, and then whatever his father said, immediately he has been able to go and actually asking Yama means what? Trying to get the highest truths of life. This has been put in a story format. And when the conversation started, actually when he goes to the abode of Yama, for 3 days it seems Yama is not there. So this boy patiently waits outside. Yama is on one of his rounds, maybe collecting souls, and he stays outside without food and drink, and he doesn't turn back. He waits, persistence, perseverance. And then when Yama comes, he tells him that I have made a Brahmin wait for 3 days and 3 nights without food, so this is not good for me. So ask 3 boons from me, whatever you want, ask. The first boon which Nachiketa asks is, well, make my father peaceful, make him happy, make him do the right things, and when I return back, make him accept me. See, the very first boon is for the father. The second boon which he asks is regarding a sacrifice. It's called Nachiketa sacrifice. It's actually a vidya, a kind of upasana technique, but we won't go into that now. But the third boon is what is very interesting, most important to us. The third boon which he asks is, tell me about death, so that I will understand life. Yeyam prete vichikitsa manushye astiti eke nayam astiti chaike etad vidya anushishtas tvayaham varana mesha varasthritiya, he says. Which means, I want to know what survives man when the body falls. What is it that is carried forward? Some say that he exists, some say he no longer exists after his death. Tell me the truth about this. Now, as soon as Yama hears this, he starts telling him, well son, you ask for something else, because this is a very subtle truth which even the gods are confused about. They do not know, you know, this Indra, Varuna, all these deities, gods, that is the lesser gods, they do not know this truth. So, there is a lot of confusion about it. So, ask for something else, and then he offers him very many things, each one of which Nachiketa discards. Shatayusha putra pautran vrineshva bahun pashun hasti hiranyam ashvan bhumer mahadayatanam vrineshva swayam cha jiva sharado yavadichyasi. All these are the boons, which means ask to live for 100 years, ask for anything of this earth, for children and grandchildren and gold and wealth and the best of life, and as long as you wish to live. But for everything, Nachiketa says that, you know, the conclusion he comes to, he says, Sarvendriyanam jarayanti teja. What do all these pleasures do for me? You see, this is the thing which we should observe here. Sarvendriyanam jarayanti teja. It removes the vitality of my senses. It removes my energy actually. Too much indulgence. So, you see what it does to you. So, he comes to this conclusion that after all this, it is doing this to me. So, I do not want all of this, please give me the answer to this question which I have asked. And then Yama is very surprised seeing the persistence of this boy. And then he embarks on this very beautiful, it is a sort of monologue in which he goes on giving the teaching on self-knowledge, which is very interesting. I will give you some portion of it here, that is all we can do. So, the first thing is one of the first ideas he gives him, I have only chosen those ideas which will be useful to you as students. You see, Shreyas and preyas की जो idea है, Shreya and preya, आपने सुना होगा, हिंदी में ये शब्द है. He gives him that idea. It's straight from the Upanishads. Shreyascha preyascha manushyametat tau samparitya vivinakti dhira shreyo hi dhiro bhi preyaso vrinite preyo mando yoga kshemad vrinite. Which means to say, you see, you have asked for a kind of discrimination between what is Shreyaskar and what is Preyaskar. Shreya हम किसे कहते हैं? What do we call Shreya? That which is good, that which is preferable. Preya is that which is not so good, just pleasant maybe, and that which is pleasurable. So, between the preferable and the pleasurable, the preferable is to be chosen. This is the teaching. He says that a man of discrimination will make sure that he seeks out Shreyas, and the man who just wants to satisfy his immediate gratifications will go in for preyas. So, देखिए ये बहुत important idea है, especially in decision making, in all these things. If you are not able to distinguish between the good and the pleasant, you will conclude the pleasant is good, isn't it? Usually it is not. See this for yourself. These two, this is a very defining idea of the Indian culture. Everything that is pleasant is not everything that is good always. The two are different. Good is different from pleasure. Goodness is different from pleasure, and Shreyas is different from preyas. So, if you can't even demarcate between the two, how are you going to make a decision? So, this is a very important idea given in this Upanishad. You can read more about it. I told you, if you go to the source material and the commentaries on it in Kathopanishad itself. And then he says that since you have chosen Shreyas, I will give you the knowledge of the self. I will tell you about the self. But this knowledge, ये बहुत विरल है. It is very rare. श्रवणायापि बहुभिर यो न लभ्यो शृण्वन्तोपि बहवो यम न विद्युः आश्चर्यो वक्ता कुशलो से लब्धा, which means many people don't get to hear of it also, isn't it? Do you hear about the Atman या आत्म तत्व क्या चीज़ है, इसके बारे में हम आजकल सुनते हैं क्या? It is not even available for hearing, especially from your educational apparatus. So this is exactly what he is saying. You don't even get to hear of it, and those who get to hear of it also will not understand it, will not know about it. How is it to be known? Ascharyo vakta kushalosya labdha, which means from a very qualified teacher it is to be heard, and then even the student should be of that type, because you know actually spiritual teaching, it's a matter of transmission, it's a matter of giving. One mind transmits to another mind. It's not just telling something. It's not even about talking, about lectures. So the thing is to tune in to a mind of that order, and then this knowledge can be transmitted. So he finds in Nachiketa such a pupil, actually, one who is able to do that. So you see, Nachiketa is a very good model for youth, asking for the higher truths of life by oneself through one's own discrimination. So this is what he embodies, and then he starts telling him that there are, you see, actual methodologies in the Kathopanishad to reach the truth of the self, one of which is sarve veda yat padamamananti tapansi sarvani cha yad vadanti yadichanto brahmacharyam charanti tatte padam sangrahena bravimi om iti etat, he says. How to meditate on this Om, that which everyone is seeking, all austere people seek, that which the Vedas are expounding, that seeking which people practice brahmacharya and all these disciplines. I will tell you very briefly, that is Om, and then he teaches him the meditation on Om. मैं आपको एक एक ग्लिम्स दे रही हूँ कि इस उपनिषद में क्या है और आप कैसे डाइव कर सकते हो. Do you know what actually Om is? Om is your real name. If you go on with a chanting of this type, you will see your mind naturally turns within. It leads you to your real self. So, इस तरह के meditation techniques, hints towards them have been given in this Upanishad. And then he also tells you what will not get you this knowledge. Nayamatma pravachanena labhyo na medhaya na bahuna shrutena yame vaisha vrunute tena labhya tasyesha atma vivrunute tanum swam. The meaning of this is, you will not get this knowledge just by a pravachan. You will not get it by hearing of it too much. Na medhaya, not even it's not just intellectual knowledge. Yame vaisha vrunute tena labhya. This has very deep meaning. It means, the literal translation is, him whom the Atman chooses, to him he will reveal himself. इसका मतलब है, देखिए, actually if you pay deep attention to something, you know what is attention? Have you thought about it? आपके लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है ना attention. What is attention? It's a beam of your own awareness directed by your will. Whenever you pay sharp attention to something, your awareness comes into full play, isn't it? So attention is connected to awareness. Now what he is saying is, him whom the Atman chooses, if you pay enough attention to self-knowledge, the entire, your awareness will come into full bloom. So in a way, the awareness chooses to whom it will reveal itself. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? Consciousness chooses to whom it will reveal itself. The meaning is this: you give so much, your complete attention, and you will have that knowledge. That is the meaning. So you see, he is actually pointing out how you can move towards self-knowledge. It is possible through self-effort. If you put in the right kind of self-effort, that itself is grace. Right kind of self-effort itself is grace. That brings you this knowledge. Any knowledge, you see, you have to put in the initial effort, isn't it? And then the knowledge is unraveled to you. So this knowledge also is like that. बहुत बार glibly we talk of this, कि ये, is it a theory, is it just a construct, or is it really there? You see, they are discussing our own real identity. So they ask for only this much: pay serious attention to what is being said, and you will get a glimpse of it. After this, he gives one more hint. He says, Esha sarveshu bhuteshu gudho atma na prakashate drishyate tvagraya buddhaya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibhihi, which means it can be known by a very refined, sharp absolutely committed intellect that will catch a glimpse of the self. What is this self? We have discussed it in many classes. What is it that they are talking about? Your real identity, a unit of pure consciousness which you are, which is manifesting through this body-mind complex. How to get there? This is our question, isn't it? Intellectually we have an understanding. How to get to the realization of it? They are pointing to you techniques. If you sharpen your intellect and direct it inwards, your own identity will be revealed. Your I sense comes from where? That will be revealed to you. If you are not able to penetrate into it just like that through a very sharp intellect, employ a method like yoga, like nididhyasana, a meditation technique, some upasana technique, still your mind, sharpen your intellect and go within, it will be revealed to you. You will get some glimpse of it at least. So you see, definite techniques have been given to do this, and without this knowledge, as I have been telling you throughout the classes, without this knowledge, you see, if you have everything in life, but you don't know what life is, you don't know who you are, does it make any sense? You have everything else, but you don't know who you are. Your sense of yourself is constantly changing. You don't know what is your real identity, what the real I means in you, what is the unchanging element in you. So nothing will make much sense without this. And it is through this the subject is studying the objective world, isn't it? So knowledge of the subject, it's not a matter of choice. If you don't penetrate, get something of this, at least think deeply about it, you will not get the fulfillment that human life offers. See this for yourself. In fact, it is this urge only which has made you take this course also. What exactly you are seeking for, it is right within you, they are telling you. Or uske liye technique bhi hai, how to go there and get it. And you can get it through all these means they are pointing out. So it should be a matter of deep interest to us. Without this, you know, you can never be sure how your life will go. So that is also mentioned through an analogy of a chariot. This is a famous analogy from the Kathopanishad. Atmanam rathinam vidhi, shariram rathamevatu, buddhim tu sarathim vidhi, mana pragrahamevacha, indriyani hayanahu vishans teshu gocharan, atmendriya manoyuktam bhokte tyahur manishinaha. The meaning is, they are conceiving human life to be like a chariot ride. You know who's the rider? That is the Atman. The body is the chariot. And the reins, that is the mind. The charioteer is your intellect, the buddhi. And the horses are your senses. Now you see, for a chariot ride to be smooth and for the chariot to properly reach its destination, what all needs to happen? First of all, the horses, you know, they must move on track, isn't it? If they go out of track, your chariot is going, you are going to go somewhere else. For that, what do they do in a chariot? Have you seen chariots? They keep the horses blinkered. In the human life, the senses are the horses. Do we put blinkers? मैंने एक क्लास में आपको बताया था, the contents of your mind are decided by your sense exposures. Those blinkers means this. To a certain extent, your gaze should be directed towards what you want to achieve and how deep a life you want to live. If your gaze is just directed towards everything is going to get into your mind. The selection process starts right here. So select the best for yourself always in life, and you will have a marvelous life, a very elevating life. So first thing is, the senses have to be blinkered. And then the reins should be held tight, isn't it? The mind are the reins. If you keep your mind very loose, absolutely no discipline in life, absolutely no concentration techniques practiced, just living a kind of erratic life, the reins are very loose. No matter who's the rider or what kind of charioteer you have, if the mind is loose, you cannot control the chariot of your life. Isn't this true? Who's the charioteer here? Your buddhi. If he is an intelligent and responsible person, you will have a good ride. If he is drunk or he is not even awake, half conscious, will you have a smooth ride? He will not hold the reins tight. So buddhi is the next element. You have to be particular. Live a conscious, intelligent life. Live a life committed to higher values. ये सब भीतर की चीज़ें अंदर से आनी चाहिए Okay, this is the way I want to lead my life, this is the road I want to travel to my destination. And then, well, the body is the chariot, okay, that is what is moving through the road of life, and the rider is the Atman. You see, the charioteer will take orders only from there, from the rider. So, how your soul is disposed towards what is your ultimate goal in life, that is going to decide how your chariot is going to go. So, you see, at every level some amount of discipline, conscious control is being asked, and then you will have a very smooth ride, he says. Otherwise, you do not know, you may even go off the road. So, that is why these kind of analogies are given, very many more beautiful ideas are given in this Upanishad, but we have only limited time. So, I will go only bit by bit. By giving you all these ideas, what are they trying to tell you? आपका जो परिचय है, आपकी जो identity है, there is a unchanging core unit to it. If you have a glimpse of that, your entire mechanism of body, mind, intellect, everything can be controlled and brought into fruition, brought into fulfillment. If that unit is not, you do not identify yourself with that, you will not know how to handle this apparatus which you are calling the subject, the body mind complex. इसीलिए self knowledge इतना important होता है. I told you, it is not a matter of choice. If you do not do some research at this level, the person who is handling this world, who is handling the objective world, who is seeing the objective world, who is perceiving the objective world, if that person itself is shaken, you have no knowledge of the subject, you will not be able to handle your situations properly, your environment properly. So, that is why repeatedly this is being said. Now, naturally a question pops up here. This Atman concept, is it a theory, a kind of theory constructed by this philosophy of Vedanta? Actually, what is Vedanta analyzing? It is not constructing. Theory is a thought construct, isn't it? It is not doing that. It is analyzing your existential awareness. You see, there are certain basic facts in your life which will show you that there must be, the real I must be somewhere deep within in the form of consciousness. Like I told you, you can cognize your mind as an object. Mind is an object of cognizance. What does this mean? You are apart from your mind. You pass through 3 states of experience, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. You pass through 3 states means you must be apart from them. You are able to say something about them, which means you are apart from them. You have conscious experiences, which means what? There must be consciousness in you for you to have conscious experiences. You see how many clues I am giving you, it is in your own experience. You have memories. Unless there is an unchanging, unmutating knower in the background, how do you connect 2 experiences in the form of memory, tell me? Do you see this? The clues are right in your own experience. This is called vichar, existential inquiry. If you do this repeatedly, you will become convinced of the fact there must be an enduring knower. I may not have been able to reach that state, but at least this conviction will come, ये किया जा सकता है, ऐसा कुछ होना चाहिए, that's the real I. So, this is the technique which Vedanta actually uses, and it gives a lot of logical backup to this. A lot of logic is used in Vedanta. So, do not think it is just a theoretical construct, the concept of Atman. You can penetrate into this knowledge. This is what meditation is about. Today we will go deep into meditation techniques, because last class I stopped at pratyahar. We will go today into dharana, dhyan and samadhi. We will go into this, how it reveals to you this knowledge. But the essential point for you to note here is, we will have intellectual ideas, we will have logical forms in Vedanta, all of this, but the essential thing is the experience. The experience has to be caught. If you are of that type, like a Nachiketa, the conviction will arise immediately. But a little amount of meditation will put you into that state. So, it is quite possible. How is logic actually used in Vedanta, do you know? As a support to existential inquiry, as a support to it. Now, let me give you an example here. Many of you would have asked this question, is there a God? Is there God? आप जो भी कहो, whether you call him Brahman, as it is called in the Upanishads, or Ishwar, or whatever you call it. You see, there is this vast creation spread out before you. It's a very intelligent creation, isn't it? So there must be intelligence behind. Even in your information systems, what creates knowledge, tell me? It is intelligence that creates information, always. So if there is a very intelligent design, there must be a very intelligent designer, isn't it? So what I am trying to tell you is how logically they are supporting some of these views. Again, they say God is omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent. What is the meaning of all this? देखिए, जब आप, whenever you create a design, what is happening is the designer has created the design and the designer knows all about the design, isn't it? That is why he has created it, which means he is omniscient, he knows about the design. So if there is this wonderful world, well designed world spread out before you, the designer must be omniscient, he knows about his design. He is omnipotent because the designer always invests himself in the design. He is able to mingle with the design, isn't it? He has the potential to create that design, and he is omniscient, omnipotent and omnipresent because he is part of the design, it is created from his mind. So you see, God has all these characteristics also. What I am trying to tell you is, in different ways, today we will study some of these logical systems also. In different ways, logically they have tried to support existential inquiry. There is a difference between the yoga system and the Vedanta system. You know, yoga जो हम study करेंगे आज, it is actually based on a dualistic system. Sankhya Yoga आपने सुना होगा. Sankhya is a system of philosophy propounded by Kapil Muni, and yoga is drawn from that, much of yoga techniques. So it is dualistic in outlook. But so if it is dualistic, what does it mean? It means there are two realities. There are two realities. It is called Purusha and Prakriti. Technically, Purusha is consciousness and Prakriti is Jada, and yoga is actually the separation of Purusha and Prakriti. So you are moving towards consciousness. You remove what is Jad, what is not conscious. Now the technique you see, this is the basic outlook of yoga. But Vedanta will tell you, if you just know what is real, the unreal will have no power over you. You see, I want you to just notice the difference between these two techniques. Just if you know what is real, will the unreal hold you? It will not hold you. So it is a discrimination between the self and the non-self in Vedanta. It is not based on a dualistic framework as yoga is based. This is a basic difference. In yoga system, the mind is actually somehow it has to be brought under control, because finally they will tell you your real nature, awareness, it is actually mixed up in a sense with the mind, with the thought process, and at its highest level it is mixed up with your intellect. See, you may not be identifying yourself with your body, you may not identify yourself with your thoughts, but you are almost always identified with your intellect. That is what is gauging everything, isn't it? Understanding everything. So since you are identified with it, the actual break should come there. It is called Vivek Khyati technically in Yoga Sutras, which means the awareness is separated from the Buddhi Sattva, the higher intellect. If you are able to do that, you will catch pure awareness. आपको समझ में आ रहा है मैं क्या कह रही हूँ? How to dive into the subject through yoga. This is the, yes, you see, Vivek Khyati is a very technical concept in Yoga Sutras. What they are trying to tell you is, you are identified at all levels with the body, with the mind and with the intellect. But still your identification with the body is minimal. Most of the time, watch and see, you are not conscious of your body. But with your mind, with your thoughts, you are more identified. But with your intellect, you are most identified. Now through yoga, through the practice of meditation, if at the higher levels of meditation you can bring about a break between awareness and this higher intelligence, which means what? You separate buddhi from pure awareness. If you are able to do that, awareness is different from buddhi sattva. It is very difficult to understand at this stage because we are not close to the state of samadhi just now. We are just thinking, we are cogitating. So, in that state if you can bring about this split, you will generate a very high level of awareness, what is called Ritambara Prajna. Technical terms I am giving you, it means truth bearing intuition. It takes you directly into self knowledge. ये कैसे होता है हम study करेंगे. At the end today we are going to study this only. But I am just telling you how they are trying to help you move towards self knowledge. Prajna is it's a very potent word. It means knowledge of the truth, truth bearing intuition. If you can get prajna, if you can be ushered into that state, you will get a clear glimpse of the self. And this is what yoga actually aims to do. Anyway, we will be going into this later on. In many of our scriptures, the support to self knowledge has been given to be yoga, meditation. क्योंकि ऐसे ही ये knowledge हमें नहीं मिल रहा है ना. See, if you know you are the self, does it bring you the realization of the self? The mind has to be trained at a certain level, it will open up to reality. This is the usual procedure. There are very great minds which can penetrate straight into reality, like Raman Maharshi for instance. Just one logical question and he could penetrate. But for most people they need a kind of methodology to go into it. So, in many scriptures you will find recommendation of a number of yogic techniques, a number of ways of meditation. And in Brahma Sutras also, which is actually the logical support of the Upanishads, I found 3 references to meditation techniques, to yoga. बैठ के मन को control करके ये चीज़ करनी है. That's why we have introduced that small assignment of meditation. Some practice of handling the mind should be there. So, you see, through all these techniques we are going to try to understand self knowledge. But what I want to dwell a little now, what I want to take up a bit is how exactly theories are constructed. Why are we telling you that all this is not theory? So, we will take up a little, this is not in your syllabus, but it is important for you to know the structure of scientific theories. We will take this up a little in order to prove what? That a thought construct is not the ultimate thing. See how are theories, there is a book actually, The Structure of Scientific Theories by Thomas Kuhn. Have you heard of it, any of you? It is a famous book. There, well, let us not go into the details of that book, but this much you should understand. When you construct a theory, usually there are 3 views to the creation of theories. One is called the syntactic view, then the semantic view and the pragmatic view. In syntactic view, the basic question asked is, what is the logical form I should use in order to create a theory? Logic is a way of training your mind to think linearly. So, using logic, how do I create the theory? Semantic view will tell you what mathematical model should I use in order to create that theory. The pragmatic view, of course, is of what use will be the theory. So, using these 3, thought constructs are built, and that is how you have a number of theories. But remember this, a theory is a thought construct based on an agenda, or it may not, then there may not be an agenda, it is just a thought construct based on certain principles, based on a fundamental logic. That is why theories can be made and theories can fall also, isn't it? Is any theory permanent? You know, there is a famous statement by Eddington, the corridors of science are replete with the skeletons of discarded theories. You make up a theory, then you find more observable facts which contradict the theory, then theory falls, another theory comes up. So, it is a hypothetically you proceed. Theories are built, theories fall also. Actually speaking, you know, J.J. Thomson, he discovered the fact that electron is a particle and he won a Nobel Prize for that. His very son, George Thomson, he got the Nobel Prize for disproving that electron is a particle and it is a wave, for proving that it is a wave. So, you see, theories are constructed, theories are also discarded. But what we have to see is why I am taking up this subject of theory is a thought construct is a part of your mind. But what the knowledge which Vedanta is trying to give you, self knowledge, it is not even part of your mind, it is not a construct. You will see how it is. Let me go into some logic, basic logical systems. See, observe this, otherwise you will miss the important points. You see, science uses its, I am giving you very basic logic used in science and Vedanta. Very basic, a number of very complicated logical systems are there, but very basically science uses the law of identity. A concept in a discourse must have same meaning, obviously. Law of excluded middle, a statement can be true or false. If A is equal to A, it means A is not equal to B. Law of contradiction, if two statements contradict one another, then only one can be true. Like A is equal to A or A is equal to B, which means A is equal to A or B. And law of sufficient reason. If you have sufficient reason to believe, what is reason? What is reasoning? Yes, yes, logical explanation of something. And usually science is using inductive inference. But in Vedanta, you see, it has its own logical format. I am giving you, I am telling you, very, very briefly I am putting it. There is a correspondence theory which says truth corresponds to reality, yatha tatha jnanam it is called. That is called prama. Prama is true knowledge. Knowing a thing as it is true knowledge. Truth is conformity or coherence to a proposition within a system of thought. Isn't this true? Like for example, the three angles of a triangle. Within the system of your Euclidean geometry, this holds, otherwise it bears no sense, isn't it? So, within a system of thought, if it bears coherence, then it is true. Non-contradiction, you see the same theory, the same logic is used both in science and Vedanta. Abhaditartha visheka jnanam prama. This is also an important logical point. And then truth is verifiable and fruitful. Again, pragmatism, it's same science and Vedanta. It should be verifiable and it should be fruitful. Only the inference here used is syllogistic inference. Usually Shastra Praman it is called. Shastra is used as an, that is why you see Vedanta, the study of Vedanta is so important. It not just trains your mind, it will give you hints, clues to self-knowledge. And it has a number of, it gives you a number of inferences. So, as we are studying, you see, when I start every class, I am taking up something from Shastra, isn't it? The Vedanta which you are learning, it is directly from the Upanishads. So, this is the kind of inference used.
What is
Syllogistic
syllogistic?
means using two statements, you are trying to create an inference. I will take up examples and show you. Now, in why I jump to this structure of scientific revolutions is because we are studying the creation of theory. See, logical systems are used both in science and Vedanta, but in science you are using logic itself to create the theory. But I told you in Vedanta you are using existential inquiry supported by logical system to create, not a theory, to create experience itself. So, you see in science this is how it works. This is a famous Kuhn cycle from the structure of scientific revolutions. There is normal science, it suffers maybe a model crisis at some point, then there is a model revolution, a paradigm change in thinking, and you come back to science. And in summary, just watch that summary given there. You see there is, in science there is a puzzle solving stage and scientists share a common paradigm, make measurements, articulate theory, make predictions, then they find an anomaly. Initially they blame the apparatus, set aside problems, modify the paradigm, then they actually see a crisis and they try to solve the crisis by having a paradigm shift, then that's a change in the worldview, a gestalt shift is made, problems seen from different perspective, new paradigms explode, and then there is the pre-paradigm phase where alternative concepts are compared, exchanged, and anarchy prevails for some time, fact gathering appears unguided, and then a new paradigm is created. You see, scientists return to routine, revelation becomes invisible, and this becomes the next step in science. This is how a theory is created, false, next hypothesis is put forth, again a new theory comes up. You see, this is how it becomes part of science. This is the cycle usually scientific revolutions follow. And Kuhn reiterates 5 criteria from the penultimate chapter of his book that determine theory choice. What determines the choice of a theory? It should be accurate, it should be consistent, it should be broad scope, simple and fruitful. It should be accurate, empirically adequate with experimentation and observation. It should be consistent, internally consistent, but also externally consistent with other theories. It should be broad scope. A theory's consequences should extend beyond that which it was initially designed to explain. It should be simple and it should be fruitful. It should disclose new phenomena or new relationships among phenomena. Then it is accepted as a new theory in science. Now here different thinkers have put forth different forms of logic in creation of theory. Like for example, this is another famous book. Some point in your life read these books, The Logic of Scientific Discovery, in which Karl Popper makes a very important statement. Just read it. You see, I'll just read it for you. Karl Popper is a well-known philosopher of science. Popper argues that science should adopt a methodology based on falsifiability because no number of experiments can ever prove a theory, but a reproducible experiment or observation can refute one. See the sense he is making. According to Popper, non-reproducible single occurrences are of no significance to science. Thus, a few stray basic statements contradicting a theory will hardly induce us to reject it as falsified. We shall take it as falsified only if we discover a reproducible effect which refutes the theory. Popper argues that science should adopt a methodology based on an asymmetry between verifiability and falsifiability, an asymmetry which results from the logical form of universal statements, for these are never derivable from singular statements but can be contradicted by singular statements. So, falsifiability figures prominently as Popper's method for testing theories. He repeatedly shows that theories are never verifiable, only falsifiable. Are you getting the point? Popper finds inductive logic internally inconsistent to do this. Instead, he supports deductive reasoning as empirically scientific. Deductive systems avoid many of the pitfalls of metaphysical thinking and psychologism by requiring continued testing for falsifiability. The point he is making is this: before you accept a theory, you must know the underlying logic, you must decipher the mathematical model, because there is every chance for a theory to change. When does a theory, when will it not change? Tell me.
Address all the variables that are there.
Yes, you are able to address all the variables, and most of all if it is based on some experience. You see, many times what happens is Vedanta and all this is dismissed as subjective experience, but it is experience to you as the subject. That is what makes it so authentic. Why I am telling you Vedanta is not a theory is, you as the subject are experiencing some things which are being analyzed and put in a logical format. That is what Vedanta is doing for you. Any other theory can be falsified, you can change the logical structures, you can change the thought construct. You understand? This is the difference between existential inquiry and theoretical explanation, creation of a theory. For this we have gone into this. Now let me go into, yes, the actual process which we are going to, some things which are very useful to you. Let me tell you that first of all. You see, before you can penetrate into whatever we are calling existential inquiry or self-knowledge or whatever, there are certain conditions to be satisfied. First of all, you have already studied something of yama and niyama and all these things. Mindfulness is a very important point you should know. We are studying Yoga Vedanta. If you are mindful of something, if there is a huge amount of awareness you have brought into your study of something, you will be able to solve all problems that you encounter. You will be able to attack that problem with full energy and proceed. If you are not mindful, only half conscious, mindfulness का मतलब आपको पता है ना, you have brought entire attention into, because the undercurrent of attention is awareness. If you are only half conscious, you are not mindful, you will not be able, problem solving stage you will not be able to do. And you will face a number of problems into anything. You just watch this whole thing. You see, in any challenging work situation, how mindfulness works as an on the spot intervention. ये सब नए ideas है आपके लिए, but for those meditators, for those who practice meditation, this is a very important thing to do. If you are mindful of something, you can solve any challenge. See, if there is a challenging work situation, Usually the unconscious response will be in the form of threat activation or negative emotions. Ye true hai na? If you don't have not put enough conscious thought to something, you will usually be threatened by it, or you will have negative emotions about it. If you have a conscious response, you are first of all aware of the situation, and the awareness means to be mindful, the awareness to be mindful. The need to be mindful will come through that awareness. So, you see, a conscious response is so important. Now, on the spot mindfulness, what will it do for you in such a situation is, it will give you techniques to step down threat response and prevent escalation of threat. Isn't this true? Otherwise, you live in a sort of fear. If you are only half conscious or partially conscious, you cannot even have knowledge, get knowledge of the situation. That creates threats for you. Exam fear क्यों होता है? Wrong decisions क्यों होते हैं? These are all your challenging life situations for which you need mindfulness. So, you gather present moment facts only when you are mindful, and you can step down or prevent escalation of threat and negative feelings only if you are mindful. So, this is a very important thing for you to understand, bringing your conscious attention spans into your hands. Half consciously doing something, forgetting about what you do, remaining engaged in opposite things. If you do all this, you will lose this mindfulness technique. Then increased focus and clarity, this is what it gives you in the next stage, you see. So, this naturally leads to decreased threat activation. Obviously, you have brought more clarity there and decreased negative emotions. So, you can handle the situation. What will the outcome be? Improved performance in negotiations and decreased counterproductive workplace behaviors. Many times you sort of undo your own good, isn't it, in many situations, by reacting sharply or wrongly, and by what are called counterproductive behaviors. But if you are mindful of every situation, you can overcome this problem. So, a mindfulness technique is there, no? It is called vipassana, isn't it? Now, this is basic to yoga science, very basic. Yoga cannot be done half-mindedly or half-heartedly, which means consciously approaching the problem. It will awaken higher and higher awareness in you if you consciously attack the problem, any situation. If you can remain mindful, what is it that helps you remain mindful? Can you tell me? Mindfulness का मतलब क्या है? Control, more and more awareness is coming into the mind. You are aware, even when thoughts are not there, awareness is there. You are mindful, your entire mind is there. It is not actually bogged down by thought, emotion or negative emotion or memory or anything like that. You are always conscious, more and more conscious. Now, you see, I will give you 5 states of your own mind, which are going to determine your experience of life. Please see this carefully. The very first state is mudha, where the state of mind is dull and indolent. जब मन में बहुत तमस होता है ना, this is the state. कभी कभी होता है ना ये मन में, you don't want to get up from bed, the mind simply doesn't want to think. Tomorrow you have an assignment but there is no effort towards it. So, this is that state. Second is kshipta. These are all states of your own mind. Please see this carefully. Kshipta is the distracted or restless state. When you know what you should do, but well, energy nahi hai. Somehow you want to just distract yourself. The third is the vikshipta state, 5 states of your own mind. Vikshipta state means it is scattered, your attention is scattered but occasionally preoccupied. The fourth is ekagra state, that is concentrated or what is called flow. We have discussed this in flow. The last is niruddha, or the mastered and restrained state. Now, you see, which state of mind you bring into operation is going to decide what kind of experience you get from the object in front of you. Isn't this true? Object वहाँ है just to experience it, ऐसा नहीं है. What state of mind you brought to study that object is going to decide how much knowledge or experience you are going to get from that object. That is why it is important to study the subject. This is what I am telling you. If you bring only mudha and kshipta minds into a very strong mathematical class, you are not going to get much out of it. If you bring a ekagra mind, you will get a lot out of it. Even in a Vedanta class, it's like that. What type of mind you bring is going to decide how much knowledge you will get. Knowledge is not there just on the board. How much you are able to absorb, that is decided by the quality of your mind. Now, the last two states you see are self-directed and self-sustained. They must come by default, this ekagra and niruddha state. This is the goal of yoga. To be mindful means this, to make these states natural. So, learning to make these two states natural is our goal, which means what? You remain in a kind of concentrated state where you have mastery over yourself. These are all preliminaries. Before we study Dhyana, Dharana, all these things, you must know, you must be acquainted with what is happening in your mind. That is why this is being given to you. Another thing, very important thing which you should know here is, I told you earlier also in a class that emotional intelligence should be there for you to be able to handle mind well. Emotional maturity should be there. Have you given thought to this? Most of your problems are emotional. If you are not able to handle emotions properly, and if positive emotions do not dwell in your mind, you know, it is very difficult to practice any high level concentration technique. You will be simply led away from all this. Just by the force of emotion, you will be led away. So, a certain degree of emotional maturity is required in order to dive into yoga. So, a little bit we will discuss what this emotional maturity means. Keeping your emotions in balance, keeping your emotions in harmony. How does it come about? Are there techniques for this? Have you thought about it? Are there techniques for positive emotions? You see, there are a number of techniques for this. Habitually keeping positive states of mind, the mind in positive emotion. It is very important for your development, very important for your concentration, very important for you to dive into yoga also. If only you are used to negative emotions and just getting, you are riding the waves of emotions all the time, uncontrolled emotional thinking, then it is not possible to achieve very high levels of concentration. So, this is something you have to learn. One way of controlling emotion is committing your energy to high levels, committing emotion to a particular level. इसीलिए कहते हैं, don't play with emotions. They are not meant to be played with. Committed emotions will keep your energy at a certain level. Vivekananda used to always say this. You see, actually speaking, until you encounter your own true nature, you will be seeking for all kinds of experiences outside of yourself. You actually even look for love outside of yourself. When you are actually loving somebody, you are imposing your own perfect ideal on that person. So, in a way, you are loving yourself through another angle. ये आपको जानना ज़रूरी है, otherwise you are just carried away by your emotions. Try to understand the psychology behind it. And another thing which you should know is, first of all, not to play with emotions. It's an energy, it's a very high level energy, and keeping emotions pure. This is very important. You see, your life will be as authentic as your love is authentic. If emotion is, the purity of emotion is not maintained, you will not get anything out of it. If love is not pure, it has no meaning. It cannot be called love at all. So, committing yourself to these levels, this is important to practice yoga. बहुत लोग क्या करते हैं, they feel yoga is only, they are just concentration techniques. It is not so. It has to do with your entire personality. It's not just training the mind in concentration. So, a large amount of emotional maturity is required for you to handle your mind and dive deep into the depths of your mind. Let me give you some facts here about, well, they are very practical things which you need to know about catching emotions. Okay, emotions can be caught. You see, all this data will help you in correcting certain ways of life. Germs aren't the only things you should worry about catching. Emotions are also infectious according to research on social contagions. Have you heard of this word, social contagion, which means moods and behaviors that spread from person to person. Positive feelings are contagious. According to a study of almost 5,000 people by researchers at Harvard and the University of California, when you feel happy, a friend who lives within 1.5 kilometers is 25% more likely to be happy. Why? He is your friend. Mind affects mind. The neighbors are 34% likely to be more happy because they are close to your ambit. You understand how we influence each other. This is all data which has been found, scientific data. The same data found that an extra $5,000 increased happiness by about 2% only, while meeting a joyful friend of a friend boosted happiness and good feelings by 10%. You see, it is a second order connection, a friend of your friend, but it boosted your happiness by 10%, which means what? Human relationships are more important than money. Your emotional intelligence skills are more important than IQ, just earning money. You must understand some of these basic things about happiness. If you are not able to develop positive emotions and as I told you, keep your love pure, direct your energy upward. That is why I told you the importance of devotion, isn't it? Devotion is something which naturally elevates your emotion to a very high level. So, if you are not able to do all this, you will struggle with your mind. Isliye understand some of these basic facts. Similarly, first year students randomly paired to roomies, highly prone to brooding, were likely to catch their negative thinking style after only 3 months. If your roommate is a brooder, in 3 months you will also be a brooder. Thus, other people influence how we respond to life's challenges. This is a world of influence. Vivekananda used to say this. This is a world of we influence each other's minds. So, the company you keep, the type of people you associate with, all this becomes important in the practice of yoga. You see, the human brain is also hardwired to detect stress. An increase in breathing rate of the person beside you, check and see just now, triggers a cascade of your own stress hormones. If your neighbor is stressful, you are going to catch stress. If your neighbor is a happy type, you will be happy after some time, not immediately. So, and you do not need to be in the same room to catch someone's stress. It is transmittable via email and social media, texting, all this. Because you are actually what you are experiencing are emotions when you get into all this. And they are transmittable in all these ways. So, be careful. All this why I am telling you is satsang ka importance मैं बता रही हूँ आपको. Right association is important. If you are planning, if you are aiming at controlling your mind, you must have a sattvic good influence around you. If all the time all sorts of influences are falling on you, it becomes a little difficult to control your mind. So, you must know these are basic scientific facts, you see, that this is what they are telling you. Now, we will go into another concept which is useful to you, what is attention. Before you learn Dhyana, meditation, you must know what attention span means. What is your attention? See, attention is actually a beam of your awareness directed by your will. So, the undercurrents of attention naturally become awareness and will. These are the two main things. Now, your awareness is usually invested in your thought process. That is why we say pay attention means what? Exclude other thoughts. So, what happens? You are able to direct awareness in a sense wherever you want. And will, your ordinary will, if it is very scattered, which means आपने कोई संकल्प ही नहीं किया है अभी तक कि नहीं ये कोर्स लेना है या ये कंप्लीट करना है. If you have not taken this kind of a sankalp, if you have not fixed your will, you will not be able to manufacture high level attention. So, this you should know. What exactly attention means, how to get it, how to manufacture it in my system. Awareness and will, these two should be fixed. You see, you do not actually fix awareness. Awareness is an essential part of you. You are awareness, but how you direct it, how much you are able to control your thoughts and keep your attention at one point is going to decide your success in life. So, take charge of yourself, but remember one thing also, if you do not have worthy goals, then it is no use developing very high concentration techniques. Your very concentrated mind can become like a very powerful bombshell if you do not know how to direct that concentration, where to put it. If you keep concentrating on the wrong things, there is no meaning in developing concentration, isn't it? इसीलिए life का goal थोड़ा elevated होना चाहिए. Otherwise, a very concentrated mind, you know, Hitler's mind was very concentrated. It can become like that. So, it can destroy if you have not elevated life energy and if you do not have very high goals in life. So, understand this is all connected. इसीलिए हम कहते हैं some amount of life changes are required. Structuring your life in a sattvic way is required. Now, the art of attention has these following points. Just pay attention. A daily practice will help you build attention. It is called anusankalp, which means a daily resolve to concentrate on our goals. ये आप करते हो? संकल्प करते हो या कभी संकल्प ही नहीं किया है? I have this goal to reach in this time I will reach this goal. इसको अनुसंकल्प कहते हैं. If you keep doing this repeatedly, your mind will get trained in fixing your will. अगर संकल्प नहीं कर रहे हो, somehow you are drifting through life, you will miss some of the very important experiences of life. Sankalp is important, that is why I deliberately direct my life in a particular way. Then calm mind through planned routine. You see, calm disposition is antidote to stress. Do you know that? Basic calmness of mind. Today you are in an excitability mode and that only is recommended all the time. But if you have not learned to generate calmness through relaxation techniques, relaxation actually means calmness and not sleep. You know, many people try to go into long periods of sleep in order to remain calm. That will not generate calmness, that generates tamas. देखा है आपने ये? कई लोग तो उठते ही नहीं हैं. They get up at 11, 12 in the morning because the mind is so depressed. What shall I do getting up? There is no goal. So, don't reduce yourself to all such stupid states. Calmness is the property of a noble mind. अगर अच्छे संस्कार हो तो mind हमेशा calm रहेगा. Otherwise, it will be perpetually restless. True inner calm comes from honest hard work. So, calm mind is equal to calm nerves, it is equal to success. A calm mind has plenty of time. You know, the restlessness of your mind makes you say, I have no time. It is our restlessness that swallows time. Mind has limited cognitive capacity, so utilize it best. It is an instrument given in your hands. If you do not know how to handle it, you will waste your life. The most important thing for you to know. So, yoga or the practice of extracting awareness, you see, you just now we need not go into this, but understand yoga to be a method for you to enhance your awareness. Positive attitudes have therapeutic effect on mind. ये आपने देखा ही होगा. Non-judgmental thinking helps extract awareness. Remember, mental states become neural traits. Your mind, the thoughts in your mind creates the neural structure, the neural mechanics of your brain. So, have the right attitude, circulate the right thoughts. Principles of contemplative neuroscience, there is a field like that today, contemplative neuroscience, are gratefulness, contentment, compassion, simple living, high thinking principles. If you just adopt this, you will be happy, I am telling you. There is a whole branch now. It is called contemplative neuroscience. You see the simple principles: gratefulness, contentment, compassion, simple living, high thinking principles. There is no substitute to clean life, that is the bottom line. Honest, purposeful, pure and dedicated to high ideals, it keeps both body and mind healthy. Oh, what happened? Okay. Now, we will go into Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi. This now I am going to draw and show it to you because you need something diagrammatic in order to understand. देखिए, pratyahar we had covered in the last class, withdrawal of mind. Next step is we are going to go into dharana before you attain the state of meditation. What should be the state of your mind? You know, I had once explained to you what vritti and pratyaya is, isn't it? Vritti is modification of your mind due to a thought. Thought is pratyaya. It may be a thought due to an external exposure, or it may be due to internal memory, your thoughts. Are you getting catch every point? Otherwise you will miss the essential thing. We had discussed vritti and pratyaya. Vritti is a modification of your mind due to a thought. So now let me just draw some vrittis and pratyayas and you will understand what meditation means. You see, the ordinary state of your mind. Oh, what happened? I had to put draw. Now here maybe you won't understand what I am drawing, but I will just tell you, this is the ordinary state of your mind. देखिए ये जो चीज़ें हैं, now watch the diagram, these are vrittis. What is inside this is the pratyaya. Vritti means modification of your mind, okay, and pratyaya means content of your mind, which means a thought. Now you see, in the first vritti you had a thought of your WhatsApp message, let us say. Then in the next vritti you thought of your email. After that again you see the vritti is so very erratic, there is no stability about it, all kinds of shapes, and you thought suddenly of your breakfast, what you had for breakfast. In the next vritti you remembered your assignment, which means what? The content of the vritti is totally different in every vritti, and every vritti is erratic, of any shape, any size, anyhow it is going. Your ordinary state of mind is like this, there is no ordered structured thought. Now what does dharana mean? The state of dharana means you are having ordered vrittis first of all, they rise and fall in an order, but the content of the vritti, suppose you are trying to practice meditation, so you are thinking of Om, the content is usually the same. In the middle suddenly you remembered your some text, then again Om, and then you remembered a WhatsApp message, like this. You have brought your vrittis into a kind of orderly structure. And the content is almost the same, but sometimes the content, that is the pratyaya, varies. So you have brought yourself into the state of dharana now. Are you understanding? This is how your, actually if you close your senses and watch your mind, this is what is happening. Usually your mind is very erratic, all kinds of modifications going on in your mind, all kinds of thoughts cropping up. So this is the first stage. When you start practicing meditation, first stage is dharana. The modifications of your mind have become stable, and the content of your mind has also become stable. Occasionally a little distracted thought pops in. Now what is dhyan? अब धारणा आपको पता चला क्या हो रहा है? Dhyan is when the pratyaya is unchanging, and the vritti rises and falls at the same point. There is no movement in the vritti. You see, this is dhyan. क्या हुआ है यहाँ पर आप देखो? Pratyaya is the same, which means the content of your mind is unchanging. Only one object occupies your mind, and the modification of your mind is not there practically, because there is no movement in the mind. Are you seeing it? Did you understand the difference between dhyan and dharana? What has happened? The object does not change in meditation. अगर आप जब meditate कर रहे हो, many things are entering, flowering in your field of consciousness. That is not yet dhyan, that is dharana. if only one object is there and the modifications of your mind are similar, same, falling at the same point, no movement of vrittis, then you are in the state of dhyan. That is why this is defined as pratyaya ekatanata. Pratyaya ekatanata dhyanam, Patanjali Yoga Sutras, which means what? One pratyaya only, one pratyaya continuously manifesting in your field of consciousness. The vrittis rising and falling at that same point, no change in the vrittis. So now you are in a state of deep absorption, meditation. What is samadhi? I will have to wipe out one to put samadhi. Not going up. Okay, next stream. In samadhi what happens is, you see, you must compare dhyan and samadhi. This is dhyan picture I am drawing here. The vritti is rising and falling at the same point and the pratyaya is unchanging, same. This is dhyan. Okay. In samadhi what happens is, there is absolutely no modification of mind, only the object occupies your field of awareness. So it is called arthamatra nirbhasa, which means only the field of only the object of concentration has occupied your entire field of awareness. There is no mind, so to say. You are absolutely absorbed in that object. In dhyan, you still thought you are meditating on that object, because you see vritti is there. So there is a meditator, process of meditation and object of meditation. It is called triputi, tripartite distinction between these three. But in samadhi state, this triputi vanishes. There is no more distinction. Only the object of meditation occupies your field of awareness, nothing else is there. You are absorbed in that. So this level of absorption, if you can attain, you will get self-knowledge. This level of absorption is required, where there is no mind activity even. You see, you have actually transcended mind, because there is no vritti. Isliye arthamatra, what this level of concentration does, you know, dhyan is usually understood that if for 144 seconds you can maintain the state of similar vritti and unchanging pratyay, it is called dhyan. Ye aap note kar lo, 144 seconds, same vritti and unchanging content, if you can maintain, it is called meditation in yoga. In samadhi, you are absorbed in the object without a vritti, without the sense of meditating. And if you are able to get rid of the distinction between meditator, meditation and object of meditation, only the object occupies your entire field of vision, you are absorbed in that, that is the state of samadhi. Getting that, what actually happens is, you get identified with the object. You become one with the object, you get the real knowledge of the object. Iska matlab hai, if you are concentrating on Om or whatever, a spark of light in your heart, God, whatever, you have actually converted the subject into that. Iska matlab hai, you have become one with that. That is the only way you actually get knowledge of something. ये आपको समझना थोड़ा मुश्किल होगा. Only if you practice meditation you will understand this. You see, when you are in a concentrated state of anger or something, you have become one with anger, isn't it? When you are in a concentrated, you feel joy at something, you have become one with joy. So also here in this stage, you have become one with the object, and the object in its entire glory is revealed to you. So arthamatra nirbhasa, the actual meaning of that object is unraveled to you. So if you are concentrating on the self, the Atman, you will know the Atman. Brahma with Brahmaiva bhavati means actually you know by being. You become one with it. Thus you know. It is actually a complete flowering of the pure unit of consciousness which you are. So samadhi state, it is to be, you know how samadhi has been studied. आपने रामकृष्ण परमहंस का नाम सुना है ना? In his life, he used to go into samadhi quite frequently. If you actually read his life and see, many times Shri Ramakrishna used to go into Samadhi in the course of a single day. And once a doctor, Dr. Mahendralal Sarkar, came with his friends to check and see what this Samadhi is. And they saw that Shri Ramakrishna was sitting deep in Samadhi, absolutely still like a rock, like a statue. And then he went closely and checked if breathing was there. You see, the absorption is of at such a level, breathing is not there. He put a stethoscope and saw if heartbeat is there. Heartbeat is not there. After some time, the man comes back. After some time, he comes back radiant with joy and happiness and full of knowledge. And seeing this, Mahendralal Sarkar thought, what kind of a state is this? Is this possible that you can suspend life activity like this? You see, we have not understood what life means because we do not understand what consciousness means. And that is why ye sab hame lagta hai, oh, it is an esoteric kind of technique. This level of concentration is possible where you transcend life activity. Actually speaking, you know, panch pran kehte hai na? There are 5 pranas. Yogis retain 1 or 2 pranas and the rest of them they allow them to merge also in awareness. And that is why they are able to manifest, they are able to go into Samadhi, come out of it. And again he comes into normal awareness, again after some time he goes into Samadhi. This is a possibility for people of that stature. We do not hold people like Shri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa to be of ordinary human level because the development of his mind, whatever you say, it is of a very high caliber. So, ये जो स्थिति है, ये संभव है human life में. It is possible to attain this and it is possible to get knowledge from this. For this only we are studying. If you ask me actually, this kind of a state, is it possible for us to attain? You have to pass through that state of yoga, but just now you can get hints and clues to what is being said, isn't it? Many next class, one of the classes we will take up clues to self knowledge, but the idea is this: even now you are that very being who you are wanting to attain through Samadhi. Even now your present state of awareness, it is nothing but that unit of consciousness getting reflected in your mind. Are you catching this point? That very consciousness which we are calling Atman, Brahman, whatever, that its reflection in your mind is your present state of awareness through which the mind is functioning, you are perceiving objects. So, if this awareness can be reduced to its, can be taken to its pure form, to its source, it will yield self knowledge for you. The technique is given like this. Do you have any questions on this Dhyana, Dharana and Samadhi?
Why do yogis want to attain samadhi? Like they get that self-knowledge, they get to know about themselves, they get that bliss,
Yes,
happiness,
yes.
and they suspend their life and they come back. But what is the ultimate aim of samadhi also?
The ultimate aim of Samadhi is to know the thing as it is. To know anything as, suppose now you have a question like what is the self? ये जो आत्मा का discussion हम कर रहे हैं. What is it actually? How will you know it? You see, you can know an object which is outside of you through your eyes, isn't it? Because it is in front of you. If something is not an object in front of you, how else will you know it? Tell me. You have to experience it within yourself. So, you have to turn the mind inward. And that is why a kind of scheme of yoga is given to you. But basically what you have to understand in Vedanta, ये ऐसी बात नहीं है कि well I have to follow a kind of enormous scheme sometime and then I will be able to get this experience. Basically your present state of awareness or conscious, the fact that you are getting conscious experiences, that itself means there is a reflection of this truth somewhere in your mind, isn't it? That is why your mind is becoming aware. That is why you are getting conscious experiences. Once we discuss the difference between a jada vastu and a conscious vastu, isn't it? So, that is why you are getting it. It is a reflection of this. So, why should I try to attain samadhi? The simple answer to that question is, if you want to know anything deeply, you will try to turn the mind inward. This state has been studied by very many Western scholars also, because it gives you knowledge of the thing as it is, anything.
And what do you mean by the starting and ending point of the vritti?
Starting and ending point of vritti. See, what is a vritti? It is the modification of your mind due to a thought. Modification of mind due to a thought. This is the thought, pratyaya it is called. This is vritti. Now, what is happening is, whenever there is a thought in your mind undergoes a modification. It is leaving an impact on your mind. Any thought, इसीलिए thoughts इतने important होते हैं. Just having any kind of thinking, it is actually affecting your mind. Please see this. So now in Dhyan, what you are trying to do is, you are trying to focus so much on your object of meditation, like here Om, that the vritti becomes absolutely stable. It is rising and falling at the same point. If you are able to generate this state, you will get immense joy. आप देखो, you are capable of this state. If you are able to generate this state, it will unleash the joy within you. If your object of meditation remains fixed, it will give you complete knowledge of that object. Just the stability of your vritti. You see, this is what you are achieving, stability of pratyaya and stability of vritti. It will give you first hand absolute knowledge about the object and a kind of fulfilling joy from within. So, that is what Dhyan is about. Yes?
What thought is worth contemplating about?
Very good. What should be the object of Dhyan, he is asking. The object of Dhyan should usually be something elevating. Even many people also practice Dhyan on something which expands their awareness, like an ocean or a bird flying or a mountain, on the sun, on Om, or maybe a deity. जो भी आपको अच्छा लगे, Krishna, Ram, whichever, an elevating object is required. Because you know, essentially what you are doing in yoga is, you are committing vital energy to your heart. You are trying to meditate on the object there. That is the practical technique of yoga which is given. And for that, if you have an elevating object there in your heart, if you are able to achieve this level of concentration, it will turn your own awareness back to its source. You get the ability to remain fixed on that object at that point. It will lead to Samadhi. So, always meditation should be on something elevating. Choose anything. For many people, just sitting still in a beautiful natural place in nature, that itself has a very elevating feeling. So, it can be something like that. Concentrate on something very, you know, there is one statement in the Upanishad, it says, na alpe sukham asti, bhumaiva sukham. Anything which expands your awareness, it will give you joy. Anything which contracts your awareness will remove your joy. Yet, such baat hai na? Why do you want to go to Himalayas or say want to see beautiful scenery और ocean के बीच में खड़े होने से इतना अच्छा क्यों लगता है? Your consciousness has expanded, your awareness has expanded. So, na alpe sukham asti, bhumaiva sukham. Think about all this and see, it impacts your own mind in a very big way. Your life will change. Otherwise, you know, you condition yourself to miserable joys and try to somehow pull out joy from others in your miserable way. You will go into depression that way. You must understand the mind mechanics in order to understand happiness. How my mind works, where do I get the greatest joys of life, and what is available to the human experience. Rationally survey it and see, and naturally you will go into meditation. ये ऐसा नहीं है कि हम एक कोर्स बनाएंगे, उसमें एक असाइनमेंट रखेंगे, फिर आप करोगे, ऐसी बात नहीं. Spontaneously it should come out of you. If I can't control my mind, No object can give you happiness. You may have 10,000 wonderful objects around you. If your mind is not in, if it's in that mudha or kshipta state, the object will not give you joy. You understand? If your mind is in the right state, you don't even need the object to give you joy. Isn't this true? आप ही सोच के देखो. Yes, anything else? No, we'll stop here. Time is up.